Hello and welcome back to the F1 Journal and to the 70th anniversary qualifying review, which saw Valtteri Bottas snatch pole from Lewis Hamilton and substitute Nico Hulkenberg finishing third. Bottas edged Lewis Hamilton by 0.063 of a second to seal a much needed pole in his title battle, with Racing Point standing ahead of Max Verstappen as Sebastian Vettel once again missed Q3 for Ferrari. Valtteri Bottas snatched pole position from Lewis Hamilton with a superb final lap as the Finn wrestled back some much needed title momentum ahead of the 70th anniversary Grand Prix, with Racing Point standing Nico Hulkenberg a shock third. In an all-Mercedes battle, Hamilton and Bottas traded fastest times throughout the hour-long qualifying session, but just as it seemed the six-time world champion was destined for an 8th Silverstone pole, his teammates stormed through and in Q3's closing moments. Bottas set the pace with a 125.154, just 600ths of a second ahead of Hamilton, who won last weekend's British Grand Prix to take a 30-point title lead. I love qualifying, and especially when the car has a good feeling, said Bottas. It's nice to get everything out of myself and out of the car. Hamilton added, it wasn't that great, but Valtteri did a good job and deserved the pole. I guess for me it wasn't a perfect lap. But the biggest star of qualifying, undoubtedly, and the biggest surprise, was Nico Hulkenberg in the Racing Point. The German competing in just his second qualifying of the season as a temporary replacement for Sergio Perez, finished as Mercedes' closest rivals, sealing a sensational third on the grid. Hulkenberg, whose pace didn't do much to detract Racing Point's critics on a hugely controversial weekend off track, even beat the informed Max Verstappen in the Red Bull, with the Dutchman struggling for one lap pace and finishing more than a second slower than Bottas. However, teammate Alex Albon was only 9th in the other RB16. Daniel Ricciardo impressed again for Renault to lead their third row, while there was also another notable Silverstone performance from Pierre Gasly, who will start Sunday's race from 7th in the AlphaTauri. One man was missing from the top 10 battle completely, was Sebastian Vettel, whose miserable fortnight continued. The German had been struggling in the Ferrari ever since the F1 circus rolled into Silverstone and qualified down on 12th. Carlos Sainz also missed out, with McLaren failing to get both cars into the final shootout for the first time in qualifying this season. After a cruel late puncture cost him 18 points at Silverstone last weekend, pole for Bottas was crucial here for the second leg of the back-to-back Silverstone races, but it didn't look like it was going to come his way. Hamilton had provisional pole by a tenth and then improved on his final lap. What then happens is the Englishman, who has 91 poles, is rarely beaten. However, beaten he was by Bottas, who was animated on the team radio after his decisive lap. Surely, though, the star of qualifying was Nico Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg, who had never driven a Racing Point car before July the 31st, but 8 days later he produced his best Saturday result since the 2016 Austrian Grand Prix. The man, who famously has never had a podium in 177 race starts, now has a great chance on Sunday. His speed at such short notice didn't do much for Lance Stroll's stock, with the Canadian only 6th in the Racing Point. Verstappen will certainly be a threat to Hulkenberg, particularly as he opted for a different strategy to his rivals by opting for the hardest of the 3 tyres available in Q2 and thus ensuring he will start the race on that harder rubber. Further back, Romain Grosjean and George Russell both impressed to make it through to Q2, with the latter ensuring his 100% record in qualifying in terms of outpacing his Williams teammates. He did so despite being blocked by Esteban Ocon in Q1, with the Renault driver, who qualified for 11th, handed a 3-place grid penalty for the incident, so we'll start from 14th. And finally, before I go, let me run you down the final qualifying classification. Valtteri Bottas will be pleased to outqualify Lewis Hamilton, even if it's just by a tenth, gets his title challenge back on track. Max Verstappen will definitely be disappointed to qualify behind Nico Hulkenberg, but Daniel Ricciardo, great job. It did look like he could be third, but unfortunately just didn't map out for him at the end of the qualifying 3. Stroll will be disappointed to be so far behind his teammate. Gasly and Leclerc probably will be happy given where their teammates came, with Albon and Norris both disappointed. The McLaren really didn't show too much pace. Ocon, pretty messy qualifying session for him, as it was with Vettel and Sainz really, but Grosjean and Russell doing a great job to get out of Q2 in the dogs of the cars they have. Kvyat will be disappointed to be out in Q1 with the AlphaTauri that looks strong recently, and the final four, they're just in poor cars at the moment, and they just don't really look like they can do much else. But anyway guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about this video in the comments below, and qualifying. Remember to follow me on Twitter. Link in the description below for F1 news, and subscribe to my other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.